Hello everyone, Cowbunger here. Welcome to a new series that I wanted to start, simply called Moveset Analysis. This is a series where I look at crossover platform fighting game characters to see how good they are, and if there's anything I'd like to change about their movesets. I want to take a deep dive into Super Smash Bros. Ultimate for this series in its infancy, but I'm cool with looking at other platform fighters in the future. Even a game like Rivals of Aether is eligible, because it did have 2 guest characters and I could still try to judge how well they were implemented. Anyway, the point of this video is to give you insight on how I would like to analyze these movesets. This is a reference point that you can come back to whenever you feel like my reasoning for things is questionable, or if you do actually like how I go about things. Now, I will say that there are some Smash Bros. Characters who I think are just perfectly represented and perfectly designed. I won't go and spoil who, but they are the stepping stones for every other character on the roster, and I've tried to figure out exactly why I like these characters so much. I did some listening to other people on their analysis on Smash Bros. Characters, mainly to Duke of Dorks and Delzathan. Shout out to both of them, I've consumed hours of their content. My philosophy is similar to theirs, but I'll still explain what I value in a moveset. So number one thing that I love in movesets is when references are used within movesets and they make sense. Having a reference within a moveset taken from a game's source material is great, and when it's put in a spot within a moveset that makes perfect sense, it makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside, especially when it's a character who I'm more personally fond of. There's a certain satisfaction that I feel when a character that I love gets added into one of these games, and they are faithfully reimagined to fit within the platform fighting game setting. What's the fun in bringing in a character from another game if they just don't feel like that character? A moveset without references is one that strips away what makes that character unique compared to the rest of the cast. For a series like Smash Bros., who usually boasts a large cast of characters, it is important for each character to feel unique from one another. And the best way to do that is to bring in things they do from their games that can help them stand out. You have to be careful about bringing things in from another game, because some things don't always translate well into a platform fighting game. Sometimes a one-to-one recreation of mechanics from another game can be too confusing or too powerful. You definitely have to be very smart about which things you choose to be implemented into a moveset. Nothing should be implemented for the sole sake of fan service. I think many of you heard about the whole 2 flickies debacle.
That's no good.
Look, I'm not here to dunk on a dude who did that. I just think that his video sparked an interesting discussion within the community. And it is that a good moveset does not have to be reference heavy, and that references should not be thrown around into a moveset for some arbitrary reason. References within a moveset just have to make sense. If a character's main thing is using other characters to fight, then by all means that is how they should fight. But with a character like Sonic, who is perfectly capable on his own, there's no reason for him to use flickies within his movesets. I'm all for them appearing in a victory animation, for example, but not within a moveset. So that's an example of references kind of just going too far, not really being necessary within a moveset. The next thing is related to what I just talked about, but again, it is important for every action a character does to just make sense. This goes beyond the references, because not everything in a moveset is probably going to be a reference, and it probably shouldn't be that way either. So when a character is just attacking, that attack just has to feel like something they would do. Getting this right takes a deep understanding of the character you're making. Sometimes a character does not have much to work with when it comes to personality or source material. Even then, you can crank up anything you do know about them to 11, and just give them moves that complement their playstyle and personality, and you can still make a good moveset through that method. But when a character has a very clear personality and set of skills, I think it's important to showcase that as much as possible through their actions, which in turn should mold their playstyle. Those are the 2 main things that really make a good moveset for me. But one very important thing that should hopefully come naturally through following the first 2 things is that your character simply needs to function within the context of a platform fighting game. It's important to understand that there are certain things that characters need in order to feel good to play within a platform fighting game. The main thing is an archetype. An archetype can be used to describe how a character plays within a fighting game. I think archetypes in platform fighters are seen as pretty loose, but there are definitely clear-cut ways that characters should be differentiated from themselves. There are gimmicks and concepts that just do not work within a platform fighting game setting, and it is important to understand what those things are so that you don't make a character that feels like a mess, or a character that feels like they are too good at everything. So basically, you still need to treat your character as if they are a function within the game almost, one that fills a certain role, and as long as you do that, balancing said character should not be too hard. And yes, I took the word function from the infamous interview with Peter Rosas, who worked on Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. He said at the end of the day, characters acted as functions, and therefore if a beloved character like Magneto gets removed, they can add in a character who functions similarly to him and make those Magneto players happy. I think that it's obvious that he was very wrong about that. Characters are not functions to players who love them, they are just cool characters who they love. However, you have to remember that a character's playstyle can kickstart somebody's love for that character, so it's important to make that character fun to play and fun to play against. The way you do that is to give them a clear playstyle that makes sense for everyone. Anything that frustrates the user of the character and the opponent should be avoided if possible. I know that there are character archetypes that are kinda intentionally made to frustrate certain players, like zoners or grapplers, but I think it's important to give those characters weaknesses, and as long as you do it, it should feel satisfying for people to overcome the odds. And those are the big things that I look for when analyzing a moveset. I'm sure that maybe I could elaborate on more things, but to keep this video from going on forever, I will stop things here. I'm sure for some of you this seems like common sense stuff, but trust me, as somebody who has worked on games within this genre, it's harder than it seems. Still, I'm excited to start my journey into judging what Super Smash Bros. Has to offer. It's going to be fun to give my insight on these characters. I don't give my insight very often. I've been saving it for these types of things for when I get to my 1,000 sub mark. So if you haven't already, like and subscribe to support the channel and get my insights as soon as the videos come out. I plan on doing characters from franchises that I know best first, then slowly get into ones that I know less about, and maybe do playthroughs of the games that I feel less comfortable with on the channel. Though if I do that, expect it to be a Ko-Fi and YouTube membership exclusive thing. Yes, I do have a Ko-Fi page where I do commissions. If you want to commission me, then check the description for a link to my Ko-Fi page. If you donate or commission me, you'll get exclusive YouTube content. That's all the things I feel like advertising. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys on the first edition of Moveset Analysis. Bye.